Yeah, that's a
That,
good point.
yeah, in- you know, I don't want to take the time right now, but I would be curious how many GIS acronyms are in the dictionary and what they mean, right?
And yeah, I could not even tell you. There's too many.
So, but yes, I think you presented really very good hands-on experiences and lessons learned. And by the way, I think you can learn a lot of learning. It's one from the other, right? As the experiences as it happens today, right? And I think that's where I'm happy to hear that interns in AKFI work together on projects. Um, how do you see? Um, how would you recommend for aspiring sustainability professionals? Let's say you are invited to a talk for grade 11 or grade 12 in your high school, and now they'll ask you, what do you do? And they do have some schools. I participated myself in the past, where they invite you and they talk about your profession, your career, what opportunities are. So how, put yourself in the shoes of somebody sitting in front of the class and not trying to persuade them, it's just sharing information about sustainability and what you're doing and what you're learning and how you got there. And so, who wants to start?
I can. Yeah. I think, I mean, this is really echoing what kind of we've said already, but to understand the environmental field, you need to really connect each different topic. And I think you need to try all of the different things within the whole umbrella of categories, the science, the history, the sociology, the economics, the politics, globally, locally, nationally, like all those different things. And I think you need to explore different classes and experiences that will help you gain knowledge and experience and help you also decide kind of what you like or don't like to work with because it's such a wide range, you're going to have to narrow it down. And I'm still working on doing that too. And I think also just staying in touch with current sustainability trends. There's always things happening because there are so many different aspects of it. And kind of the political climate as well really heavily impacts the environmental climate that we're working in. So I think staying up to date as much as you can without feeling too burdened also by what you're learning. Sometimes it can be a bit sad or invalidating to study something like this, but I think, finding community, finding what you like is really helpful. And I think ultimately you feel good about what you're learning and what you can try to help do.
And I think, one important thing because it's on top of the mind is okay, I'll go to university, I'll graduate, and sustainability is maybe ESG right now. It's a hot potato in parts of the US, for instance. Um, so it's asking yourself the question, okay, how really can I survive? Have a job, have a good job. And my answer usually to that is do not mind the statistics because the statistics will tell you, there are less jobs now in sustainability than were a year ago or 2 years ago. And that's a fair statement, but you need only one job. So from a statistical viewpoint, you are a sort of a binary case. You have a job or you're not. So if you're very good at what you're doing, if you're very passionate about what you're doing, there are always jobs that relate to the subject to sustainability. And one thing from companies are toning down their PR, right? The greenwashing part because of regulations, especially in Europe and parts of Asia. But on the other hand, they are investing more and more in sustainability as these cohorts of new students and new grads are coming and demanding actually from the management to be sustainable, to show them the sustainability charter or the sustainability roadmap. So, uh, Aidan, if you go in front of the class, what would you tell them?
I would completely agree with everything Eloise said. And to start, definitely, if you're going into sustainability, you're going to learn about the environment. And it is a heavy topic, and it's sometimes difficult to learn about, but find solitude in the solutions and know that sustainability is one of those solutions, and there's a lot of opportunity within it. And I completely agree that you should take a wide variety of courses like we both have and try everything. And then as you find what makes your ears perk up in lecture and what you're really most interested in, try to explore that a little more in each class. Like I've always really been interested in sustainable fashion. So whenever I have an individual project in a class, I try to look into a company or just something about sustainable fashion. So I like have a little more personal knowledge about the subject. So then hopefully I can use that later if I ever find myself in that field. Even though I may have not taken a class on it, I've done the research and I've done it in different environments. You know, some are just focused on business, some are more focused on society in those individual classes. But I think that's kind of helped me, even though my educational experience has been a little bit all over the map in the environmental field. But yeah, definitely just noticing what interests you the most and continuing to look into it whenever you can.
By the way, fast fashion, it's a big topic. I should have also mentioned the food. We have one video actually, or a couple of videos on fast fashion from people working inside the industry. So I encourage you to go to the AKFI library on YouTube and look for the videos about fast fashion because there are major environmental consequences. What I learned from that interview was that there are many samples, tons, like literally hundreds of samples for colors, for buttons, for materials, and so on that are shipped across the world for before actually the factories start to reproduce the fashion. So it's a there is a lot of waste. There is a possibility for technology to actually simulate those properties of the materials instead of doing samples, just as an example. I want to bring also the issue of food, right? We talked about your experience in food in Spain and in Denmark. Um, and we had another video with a professor from Cornell, Professor Emeritus from Cornell, which put on the restaurant table different products and described the sustainability impact. And that's what I learned, to my surprise, that higher content of carbon dioxide helps some plants, right? They like to consume CO2. They help the quality of the wine, for instance. So um, you can bring some of the positives. Unfortunately, we try to see the world in black and white, right? So it's either good, sustainable, or bad, unsustainable. But we need to be also cognizant on the fact that humans and the environment are adaptable. So one maybe caveat is we don't have the full science of sustainability yet figured out, as you actually demonstrated in the way it's taught in the university, because it's this piece plus this piece plus this piece. Well, synthesizing them is not a single science. There is political science, economic science, of course, environmental, chemical, biological, and so on. They come together to describe actually a very complex and very multifaceted environment. So, absolutely. Um, maybe I'd like to turn actually and open for questions for me, but before going there, uh, you touched both on future goals and aspirations, but if AKFI has the magic wand, what would you, uh, wish? And careful with what you wish.
I could go. I'm graduating this spring and I'm looking for a to go into corporate sustainability, but I think like in the future, I'm still looking to gain a lot of experience because as I've said, I don't have that much in sustainability specifically yet. But in the future, I'd like to be in a position with a company where I can direct their business practices to become more sustainable and specifically to follow circular economy principles because that's always been really fascinating to me. And I love that mindset where outputs become inputs and it's zero waste. And it also has that consumer mindset shift where we don't need as much. I'm kind of rambling now, but basically, I love to be in a position with a company where I can help come up with those solutions to truly make the company more sustainable, not just be meeting regulations, but to be doing better for the environment and society as well as the company's profits.
And that's a great way to look at it. And I would say mind share and culture are very important in companies to change, right? Which are the most difficult changes in the company. We always say company has a great culture, but then you say, okay, so how can I change it? Well, you can't because we don't know how to change cultures, really. We don't have the science. And you raised a very good point actually when you said in the business of sustainability, because sustainability has to be part of the business. Circular economy is great. By the way, I keep talking about our videos. We have a video with a friend of AKFI that talks about a industry, they call it Industry 5.0, zero waste. And he's looking at an industry that should not create any waste. So even breaking the circular economy, if you want, and says there is no need, if you think well, there is no need to create waste, of course, in an ideal situation, but definitely we are a very wasteful society. It's coming with the consumer, and consumer is part of it, right? So we have a lot of things that are single use or even no use, in the sense that we buy them because we like the marketing or the TikTok advertisement, and then we, you know, put it in somewhere in the house and never to be used again. And so very, very good. And again, uh, companies are operated financially. So whatever you do, keep in mind how you explain to a financial CFO, right? The financial person. How do you explain the value of your contribution to the top or bottom line? Because that's unfortunately or fortunately, this is how world goes. It's so especially in a dynamic economy, in a free economy, we really look at the financial part, and is the one that is the least study in universities. As you said, you study environmental sciences, social sciences, political sciences, uh, but it has to full. So whenever you can, look at who pays the bills. And Eloise, maybe going to you as well about future goals and aspirations, and how do you see yourself in a couple of years when you graduate? I
Yeah,
don't know how many years you are far, you are a bit farther, right, from
I have
graduation.
1 year left, yeah, after I finish this semester. So right now, AKFI has been super great learning, getting some hands-on experience with like um research and current events and sustainability in the digital age, and then, writing about it, learning how to read those things. And that's actually helped me to get a fellowship for this summer and this upcoming year, 12-month fellowship with our local Spokane River Forum. I'll be helping them with like digital communications.
Hmm.
It's an environmental stewardship type of position. So that I think that will be a really cool experience and help me kind of see whether or not environmental stewardship and kind of an NGO route is something I'm interested in, but also, yeah, kind of um similar to Aidan, I think, corporate sustainability, ESG, that kind of thing, there's a huge potential there. We recently had just this week, an environmental careers panel at my school, and someone who had recently graduated from Gonzaga, had gotten this job kind of made for her at this international company, to be the corporate sustainability advisor. And it was cool to hear because she's really statistically like helped their sustainability and like their waste, as you're talking about, in production and those kind of things. And it was cool to hear kind of those experiences, being she was the youngest in that company, kind of in a higher up position, and kind of bringing in those newer ideas that were being taught at school, and trying to be kind of that next, hopefully, wave um of people that can help in corporate and business sustainability.
Oh, that's impressive, by the way, because it's not only the level of energy which comes with Gen Zers and not quite Gen Alpha yet, but I think that's coming. Um, and the corporations have to change from within. There is pressure, as we talked about many times in this chat. There is pressure from social, economic, from political, but at the end, the companies will have to charter their own course, and some decide that their future relies in catering to consumers, to people that are interested in sustainability. There is this belief in marketing that sustainability is more profitable. I I would say you have to watch the budget of the people that you consider more profitable, because they are young and they don't have quite a big budget to pay for more sustainable products. But the time will come, and you have to grow your market. You have to grow your audience. You have to grow your customers. And so, as I mentioned, it's time for you to ask me questions. I shared some part that I know, but again, cannot be a 4 years class. So, any questions, Aidan or
Yes.
Elouise? Me?
Um, yeah, so I was wondering from your own expertise, what key sustainability topics should those entering the field, like Eloise and I, focus on mastering?
I would start, because I'm big on taxonomies. I will start with a clear definition, simple definition of sustainability. Sometimes it's considered the triple bottom line. Mostly it's talked about the three Ps: the people, planet, and profits. And it's very important to keep this in mind as a observation and communicate it, because that will help you. It's a shortcut to communicate your mind share, and allows you to move in this very complex picture that you both described, in the sense that I don't think it's quite easy in the universities. In my experience, it's not quite possible to teach sustainability in a few months class or a couple of classes or certificate and so on. Um, it it has an emotional part, it has a socio-economic part, it has a personal commitment part. So it's very hard to communicate. My sustainability view is different than the next person sitting next to me, right, in an office, um, and as you describe, it's part of process, zero waste, circular economy. It's part of a way of looking at conservation, and we talked about economic input. So you have to sort of go across the aisle and talk to the finance people. If you are in business development, it's like I make this decision because I also want to be profitable or more profitable as a company, but also conserve the environment by conserving the inputs, for instance, or by thinking of recycling or less energy. So I uh, I see sustainability as a complex system. And one property of the complex systems, you take them apart, and the functions of each part cannot show the function of the whole, right? If I take apart, if I show you a tire from a car, you don't know, you cannot figure out how the car is built, right?
Right.
But once I tell you the car on the road runs on the tires, then the system, you have a system view of the. So it's a complex system. It's probably one of the most complex systems of thinking for humans, because it, as I said, it combines process with economics, with cultures, with people changing. So again, tend to go back to the simple definition. It's about all these factors, right? And then you can develop a career in a niche. You can develop a career in uh, being a chief sustainable officer or in the department of sustainability. Most large companies have sustainability departments. I know from my LinkedIn contacts. So I encourage you to think on the way you communicate with people. Some people, um, I have a student which wrote to me and says, I'm a skeptic about sustainability. Convince me. And my answer is, I can't. The conviction has to come from within. I can argue. I'm pretty good at that, but arguing it doesn't change people's convictions because they always say, oh, no, but, right?
Yeah. Do you think, like along with the communication you're talking about, there are other like key skills, within like the workplace, or maybe that you see like in your students who, um, succeed in their careers that are, yeah, key skills to know for this field?
I may surprise you, but you need to build political skills. Any human organization of certain size, and the size vary, even a few people getting together, they start to get into mind shares that they call it politics. So you have to be sensitive. I would say observe what's going on. Whenever you go in an organization, they give you a work chart and they say, here is the CEO, here are the executive vice presidents, this is the CFO, and so on. I would tell you, find out who also who has the real power in the organization, because the real power comes from people that are not on the org chart on the same position, right? So observe what's going on, observe the influence, and have a clear goal in what you want to become. There are, in general, the organization deal. There is a difficulty for organizations to take care of your career. You have to take care of your career yourself. And early decisions, you want to be more into a management position. You want to be in an influential position, which is not necessarily uh, based on managing people and an organization. Or you want to be in a very technical position and be a technical expert in, you mentioned water quality, for instance, but anything like that. So once you are inside the organization, decide which career path you want to pursue, because that's usually a multi-year project. And back to politics, you have to build alliances. You have to be careful not to step on too many toes. People don't like that. So I don't know if I can give you good advice or not, but definitely organizations are living organisms. They change uh, constantly. And one last thought, and I tell people when they ask about AKFI, when they ask about organizations and so on, like nonprofits, I tell them the CEO has on the wall 10 things she or he has to take care of, because that's the human capacity, right? You can't have 110 problems, right? So they know very clearly, good CEOs, what are their objectives, the same with CFOs, the same with chief sustainability officers. So the maybe the way is pick your fights carefully, because you don't have the time and the energy to fight everything. So you'll have naysayers on sustainability. They will say this is, that's basically fake news. Uh, don't spend too much time with them. You can't easily convince people to change their minds. They would like to argue with you, and they will consume a lot of time, but it's not in your favor. So, any other question?
I don't think so. That's helpful. Yeah.
Good advice.
So, yep. Well, thank you. Well, thank you again for being with us in AKFI, for helping us to move forward. It's extremely important to us. It's important to all our staff. And I would like to thank you for taking the time to visit with us. And I want our audience to remember to tune in every week for a new episode of AKFI Actionable Knowledge Foundational Institute. Also to visit our YouTube library when they have a chance. And that's how to gain perspectives on how to mitigate risks and create value through sustainability, ESG, AI, and digital transformation. And thank you again, Aidan and Elouise.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
I'll
thank
see you
you.
soon.
Bye.
Welcome. Bye bye.